Every 4 years, civilization voluntarily pauses for a single ball. Entire nations hold their breath. Global empires of fans rise and fall in seconds. Legends are carved into solid gold, and human history writes its most passionate chapters on the pitch. It is an unbreakable global ritual. Yet, if you open the official FIFA record books, turn past the glorious triumph of Italy in 1938, and look toward the mid-century, you will confront a strange, haunting, and monumental silence. A 12-year black hole where the beautiful game seemingly ceased to exist. To the casual sports fan, the 1942 and 1946 World Cups simply do not exist. They are treated as mere footnotes, blank pages left empty because the world was consumed by the total, catastrophic madness of World War II. But true history is rarely that simple. Behind the official cancellations, bureaucratic redacted files, and empty stadiums lies a dark, bizarre, and deeply human reality. A reality filled with phantom tournaments played in the middle of nowhere, hidden golden trophies hunted by secret police, and forbidden matches played under the literal shadow of ruthless dictators. This is not just a sports story. It is the ultimate chronicle of the World Cups that history tried to bury, but human passion refused to let die. The year is 1939. The geopolitical landscape of the world is fractured, bleeding, and standing on the absolute brink of total collapse. Yet, inside the closed doors of FIFA's headquarters, an entirely different kind of warfare is brewing. The highly anticipated 1942 World Cup needs a host nation, and two wildly different countries step into the arena with fierce, uncompromising determination: Nazi Germany and Brazil. Adolf Hitler's fascist regime views the tournament not as a sporting event, but as the ultimate geopolitical propaganda machine. Having successfully weaponized and orchestrated the 1936 Berlin Olympics, the Third Reich wants a magnificent sequel. They plan to use the colossal, newly constructed architecture of Berlin to project an illusion of absolute supremacy and flawless organization to millions across the globe. On the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, Brazil is fueled by pure fury. FIFA had controversially granted the previous two World Cups to European nations, explicitly breaking the sacred unwritten rule of alternating continents between Europe and the Americas. Brazil demands historical justice, aggressively preparing the vibrant city of Rio de Janeiro to welcome the world. Paralyzed by political fear and intense corporate lobbying, FIFA officials freeze, continuously delaying the vital vote. They had no idea that within a matter of months, German Panzer tanks would violently cross the Polish border, and the ultimate choice would be brutally ripped out of their bureaucratic hands. As the European continent rapidly transforms into a massive, industrialized battlefield, a terrifying, multi-million-dollar question arises. What happens to the physical soul of global football? The goddess of victory, the irreplaceable, solid gold Jules Rimet Cup, is sitting quietly in a dark bank vault in the heart of Rome. with the Italian fascist regime aggressively seizing assets to fund their war machine, and Allied and Axis troops shifting across borders, the legendary trophy becomes the ultimate target for military looters, high-ranking generals, and art thieves. Enter Odorino Barassi, the vice president of FIFA, and an entirely unsung, forgotten hero of football history. In a daring move straight out of a classic Hollywood spy thriller, Barassi quietly walks into the Roman bank, utilizing his official status to withdraw the golden statue under clever, false pretenses. He bypasses suspicious fascist authorities, smuggles the priceless artifact out of the city, and brings it directly to his modest home. He wraps the golden goddess in old, dusty rags, places it inside a battered, utterly ordinary wooden shoebox, and shoves it deep underneath his bed. For years, ruthless Gestapo agents literally raid his house, searching for hidden assets, wealth, and resistance clues. They tear apart his rooms, ransack his belongings, and heavily question Barassi. But they never look all the way down. The entire physical legacy of global football survives the bloodiest conflict in human history simply because of a cheap, discarded shoebox hiding in plain sight. While the cities of Europe burn into ash, the deep biological hunger for the 1942 World Cup refuses to die. In the most remote, harsh, and windswept landscapes of Patagonia, Argentina, a bizarre, surreal piece of historical folklore is born. Local legend fiercely dictates that an eccentric, wealthy European count, completely isolated from the global conflict, decided to organize his own unofficial rogue World Cup in the winter of 1942. This was not a clean, corporate, FIFA-sanctioned event. It was a chaotic, beautiful, and cinematic gathering of desperate European immigrants, political exiles, local Mapuche tribesmen, and even stranded, disillusioned Italian sailors who had fled the war. According to the breathtaking local mythology, matches were played on dusty, rocky fields without professional referees, linesmen, or proper kits. The grand prize was a bizarre, heavy trophy crafted by a local blacksmith. While mainstream historians largely treat the Patagonia 1942 tournament as a beautiful, romantic myth, or a piece of brilliant cinematic fiction popularized by later art films, it remains a powerful, undying symbol of the era. It represents an unstoppable, irrational human desire to keep the joy of the game alive, even when the rest of human civilization was actively tearing itself to pieces. Even within the terrifying grid of Nazi-occupied Europe, the psychological power of football could not be completely muted. This tension led to some of the most dangerous, politically charged international matches ever recorded by historians. The most explosive encounter occurred in April 1942. In front of nearly 100,000 terrified, silent, yet emotionally roaring spectators in the heart of Berlin, the official national team of Nazi Germany stepped onto the pitch for a friendly match against Sweden. The Nazi propaganda machine, orchestrated by Joseph Goebbels, expected an effortless, crushing victory to massively boost domestic wartime morale and display genetic dominance. Instead, the Swedish squad played with a fierce, uncompromising, and terrifying defiance. They ignored the political intimidation, refused to back down under the intense pressure of the SS-filled stadium, and sensationally defeated Germany 3-2 on their own sacred soil. The humiliation for the Third Reich was absolute. Joseph Goebbels was so profoundly furious that he immediately drafted a secret historic memo stating that international sporting events must be completely stopped, arguing that a public defeat heavily damaged the psychological state and war resolve of the nation. Football was no longer just a tactical game. It had officially become a psychological frontline in a global war. May 1945. The sirens finally go silent, and the war is officially over. But the world that emerges from the smoke is a horrifying landscape of completely ruined cities, millions of displaced refugees, and entirely bankrupt nations. When the surviving members of FIFA tentatively meet in Luxembourg in 1946 to discuss the immediate resurrection of the World Cup, the cold logistical reality is devastating. Germany and Japan are strictly banned from international sports as historical punishment. The United Kingdom has just officially rejoined FIFA, but its infrastructure is rationed, and it has absolutely zero resources to host a massive tournament. No single country in Europe can afford the luxury of building grand stadiums, feeding international traveling teams, or organizing logistics. The 1946 World Cup is officially declared a financial and physical impossibility. Yet, during this incredibly bleak, depressing meeting, something historic and profoundly poetic occurs. To permanently honor the legendary FIFA president who fought tirelessly to keep the fractured organization together through its absolute darkest hour, the Global Committee decides that the physical trophy will officially be renamed forever the Jules Rimet Cup. The tournament was dead for now, but its spirit was carefully preserved in amber. The long, dark shadows of global conflict finally recede in 1950. Brazil, the very nation that had fought so passionately and desperately for the right to host the lost 1942 tournament, steps up to orchestrate the grand resurrection of global football. When the elite players of the world finally walk out of the dark tunnels and onto the lush pitch of the newly constructed titanic Maracanã Stadium, 12 years of agonizing pain, collective silence, and intense global anticipation explode into pure, unadulterated joy. The World Cups of 1942 and 1946 were never played, but their long absence proved something profound about the human condition. Brutal dictators tried to weaponize the game, and devastating global wars tried to crush it entirely. But football could not be destroyed by bombs, politics, or hatred. It stubbornly survived in the dusty winds of Patagonia. It survived in the brave defiance of a match in Berlin. And it survived inside a humble,
wooden shoebox under a bed in Rome. The greatest show on earth was back, and it was stronger, louder, and more vital than ever before.